Round one of NRL Fantasies in the books, and the question on everyone's lips, should I panic? We're going to be doing our best to answer that question today. So we're going to look at all the underperforming guys that are probably in your team answering that question. Should I panic on Ethan Strange? First up, look, 21 points. It was not a good performance for him in fantasy at all. So you had 22 run meters, you had 0 kick meters in a game where he scored 21 points. Now, for me, that's actually not the worst, right? So you got him as your starting center. He's 250K. They had a good win, so he probably won't get dropped anytime soon. I look at this and I sort of think, look, that's a base to build off, right? He's a big boy. He was getting shut down, but at the same time, I think he'll be able to build on that next week against the Tigers. So my answer is no. Don't panic on Strange. In fact, I'm going to be starting him next week, most likely. So Ethan Strange is a do not panic, chill. Brendan Piakura, 0 points. God, he made our fantasy teams look like garbage. And if you look at all the top performing teams this week, they were all teams without Piakura, which is objectively such a bad decision to make, but it worked out so well. So who am I to say it doesn't work? So 45% of coaches had him, 55% of you didn't. Piakura, relax, take a chill pill. His break even is not going to be great, but he'll be in the 300s. You hold on there. He will make you money. Don't worry about it. Next up, Ryan Pappenhausen. And if you asked me, Biz, and Rob this question, you get 3 different answers. For me, it is a do not panic. I thought his work rate was good in this game. He had about 20 runs in this game. I think it was 18 runs total. For mine, it was just a really tough game. It was 8-0 against Penrith. They were really good defensively, but so was the Storm. Storm got the win. Pappenhausen won't goal kick, so he won't be that top tier gun, but I still expect sort of 45 to 50 out of him. So, yeah, for me, don't panic. 495K, what are you going to get from him anyway, right? Just hang on. You got him for a really good price. Hold on. If you don't have him, I wouldn't rush to buy him. I'd sort of wait for some of these fixtures to get a bit easier. But yeah, don't panic on Pappenhausen. Chill out. Hang on. Sam Hughes, 25 points in a pretty small amount of minutes. I'm not going to panic here. And what are you going to do with him? 250K, right? Like, yeah, a lot of these guys are too cheap to panic on. Sam Hughes, I think he was fine. His minutes will just continue to grow as he earns them, basically. He's a young guy. It's not going to be a quick rise as a cash cow, but he'll be a nice slow burn through the year. Xavier Wilson. I think that if you have him, you might as well hold on to him. There just aren't that many good cash cows right now. So if I had Xavier Wilson, I'd use him to loophole. Problem is, the Broncos play pretty early in the week most weeks. They usually play on a Thursday or a Friday. So that's a bit tough to use. But yeah, I would hold on to Wilson if I had him. But is he going to get a starting spot soon? Probably not. So there is a little bit of panic there. It's just that he's too cheap to sell. Jamin Salmon. Okay, so I'll paint the picture for you here. He was on about 22 points leading into halftime. He was going really well, and then he got moved to center, and he had a disastrous second half at center. Just didn't score any points. Am I panicking about that? A little bit. So if there's an injury to the backs, I was kind of hoping that Kurt Mann would slide out to center. It turns out Jamin Salmon is that backup for the Dogs. Now, they have a few injuries that come up in the backs, but they could also rejig their backline completely. I'm panicked a little bit on that, but at the same time, he's a starting lock. If he keeps starting at lock, I'm not going to panic. So it's a hold tight, but just maybe don't start him in your 17 every week is more what I'm going to say there. Harry Grant. Do you panic on Harry Grant? So I'm not a Grant owner. I went with Robson myself, but for Harry Grant, no, I wouldn't panic at all. It was a game that was pretty gritty against Penrith again, another Storm player on this list. I wouldn't worry about it. I think Harry Grant is going to be that guy. If you started with him, because you wanted to hold on to him. 788K is not that expensive either. So when he pops off, you'll forget about this score very quickly. Ruben Cotter. Cotter was a little bit worrying for me. The minutes were not crazy good. So 51 minutes, 41 points. He's not a guy he didn't look like he was going to produce many offloads, and he got 0. 120 meters isn't crazy. He's just not that attacking stat guy, right? So for me, it's a little bit of panic in this. A little bit of panic. I want to see next week as well. But in this game, Tamalolo got 21 minutes, and Granville got 40 plus in the middle. McIntyre got like 44 minutes as well through the forwards. It was pretty dicey. I'm a little worried. But 587K is cheap enough that you can sort of hang on here. So let's call that an Amber Alert. There's an alert, but it's not. Yeah, it's not crazy. Keeney, I'm a little panicked. 279K though. What are we gonna do? Look, he has a buy in round 2. 18 points is not great. He did have an HIA in this game. They also lost Kieran Foran shortly before the game too, and I think Foran would have fed Keeney a bit more. Titans attack look really, really bad. When they get Kieran Foran back, they'll be a different team. So hang on. I mean, you got him now. You might as well hang on. But I'm a bit panicked, and I think we're going to be wasting our time with this guy. Spencer Lenu, it is red alert for Spencer Lenu owners. Look, 395K, 27 points. That's not the worst of it, though. He's out there saying some stuff that he really shouldn't be saying on a footy field or anywhere for that matter. So, yeah, panic, trade, don't look back on Spencer Lenu. Stili Tupanua, he played 43 minutes straight and then got hurt. I look at this and I sort of go, okay, let's see if these scans come back good, because I don't own Supernova, but if I did own him, I'd be thinking maybe he was going to play 80 minutes or big minutes at least. He's a career 42 average when he plays big minutes, so it's not crazy upside. But if I had Supernova and no good cash cows came about this week, I would hold on to him. If we get really good cash cows in the team list, then maybe I would trade him out to make some money. But I'm not desperate to sell him if I'm you. So it's a little bit of panic. Ezra Mam, panic. The 23% of people who bought Ezra Mam don't watch this channel, I assume, because we were saying all preseason that it's not a goer. He's not a fantasy producer. He just doesn't kick the ball in general play very much. He's not got that defensive work rate either. He's a very good footy player, but not a fantasy producer. So steer clear. Chan, 18 points. Bloody hell. He was a disaster for fantasy, but I'll tell you what, Storm went out there and they held Penrith to 0. Now, what does that tell me? It probably tells me that Craig Bellamy is going to keep a similar team for next year or next week. So Joe Chan, as much as we didn't like the fantasy performance, he's probably going to play that 60 minutes again next week. Can he get some bigger scores playing that role, especially when Cam Munster comes back onto that edge? Absolutely. How long will Munster be? Probably a bit of time. That's the problem. His injury seems to be more complex than they first thought. So, he gets stuck with Pezzett, who was not looking like a Munster level number 6, which is very hard to do. So Joe Chan, look, I'm hanging on, but I'm really, really cautious about starting him. So again, he's another guy I don't want in my 17. Kellen Ponga, 35 points. Would I panic if I had Ponga? Probably not. I mean, I know I really don't like the idea of having Ponga this early in the year anyway. There's just not a lot of value in it. So you got Cowboys, Storm, Warriors. That's kind of rough, actually. If I had Ponga, Dragons, who looked really good in defense, Roosters, Dogs. Yeah, so you got some better games. You go to Origin. I would think about selling him off, actually. It's such bad strategy because once you have a gun, you want to hold on to them, right? But Ponga is one that I wouldn't have wanted to start with at the start. So for me, if you can trade him out to, I don't know, the problem is you don't really want to. I'm thinking about, could you free up 150K going to Taylor May, for example? Is that worthwhile? Probably not. Ponga's probably going to outscore Taylor May. Would you go down to a Pappenhausen maybe, or? It's probably not worth trading him, but I'm a bit panicked about this pick because you need him to be firing on all cylinders at that price. Hamiso, panic. Yeah, so 38 points is actually really good for him, but he looked shaky in that game. I just don't think he's a fantasy producer. He's a really good footy player in real life. He's just not that fantasy guy. So, yeah, I'd be selling Hamiso off as quickly as I could. Flanagan, I am panicked about this. 31 points with a try and a line break. It was a disastrous fantasy performance. Flano will not touch my 17, I hope. But at the same time, I keep saying that about players who are on my team, so maybe I might be forced to. Curran, I'm not panicked because 47 off the bench is great. If you started with him, I didn't, but this is one I got asked about a few times. So if you have Curran, hold on, but if you don't rush him in. Kotrick, should we panic about 22 points? No, Kotrick is a base price winger, and 22 without a try is fine. It means it's 40 with a try when he scores those tries. How many will he score? Probably not as many as you want because he's at the Raiders, but at the same time, he's going to make some money. Just hang on to him. If you have to start him every now and then, he's got the DPP. Easy. Lukey, do we panic here? I'm a little bit panicked about this one, actually. I don't know. So he got the HIA, and then he came back on for the second half. And then he subbed out about 10 minutes into the second half. And he came back for the end as a lock and or a prop and had a bunch of offloads and some pretty cheeky plays. I'm a bit concerned about the role here because Finafuyaki was really getting some minutes there as well. I'm a little panicked, but at 498k, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I can sort of roll with it, but a little bit panic. RTS 619k, 36. I mean, like, he was swamped in that game, but he's at center. He's at center, and that's what can happen at center. If I had RTS, I don't know. You've kind of committed to it now. I'd be a bit panicked. I'd be a bit worried, but it's just hard to move him for anyone that's worthwhile. And then we're getting towards the end of the list. So Hopgood, I would panic here. His minutes weren't great, but at the same time, he's going to whip the offload out later on. So you can hang on. He's an edge. It's a pretty good spot to have someone. I wouldn't be. He's probably not the guy I'd be rushing to move. To be Tola, the minutes weren't great. He had sort of 42 minutes, something like that. He had an offload that went to ground and got intercepted. So that was a 6-point turnaround, for example. So it could have been a 38 score, and we're having a different conversation. Look, he scored close to his price. I think his break even, 35 points. I'm not panicking hard, but at the same time, if a cash cow came out, I might trade the Toller out just because it's going to be a slow burn with the Toller, and we need to make some cash this year. That's a really hard thing you have to work through. Hutch, 34 points. Now, Hutch, he scored that in a game where they got destroyed by Parramatta, who I obviously love, and I was there for that game. Hutch, he runs the ball plenty, right? So I think he had about 80 meters this game. He's going to score a base of about 30, and he's going to have big games where he scores a try or has some attacking plays. How many games will he have with those sorts of plays? Probably not as many as you want. Dogs did not look good in attack. So Sharks, Titans, Bunnies, Roosters, buy there as well. Yeah, I mean, Titans game could be good. They looked out of sorts last week against Dragons. So yeah, I'm not panicking hard. Like, he's going to make money slowly, but I'm not sort of over the moon with him. Wade Egan, panic. Yeah, that elbow injury didn't look great. You're sort of stunting yourself. I would move him on and take the chance to get some cash. Moses looked so good to start this game. He got hurt, picked up a bit of a groin injury, I believe it was not goal kicking for the rest of the game. Picked up some general play kicking, so I think he should be okay for next week. But 32 points in this one. You're carrying a niggle into the next game. Next game is against Penrith as well. It doesn't say it there, but yeah, over at Penrith. So I look at that and sort of go, oh, I would be panicking a bit there. I think that with money so hard to find, if I had Moses, I would be thinking about selling just with the injury. So yeah, I'd panic on that one. Tamalolo, 20 points in 21 minutes. Great PPM. If you started with him, you were so stoked 20 minutes in, and he just never came back. Panic hard. McInnes, 42 points in about 40 minutes in this game. Again, PPM, fantastic. Look, he's a machine for fantasy. He was never going to get the minutes. I never really sort of got the angle everyone had with McInnes. Last year they had games where they had so many injuries and he just didn't get the minutes that you wanted him to. So I bought him last year. Was pretty disappointed. Came to this year, everyone was sort of saying, "Oh, he's going to get 60 minutes this year." Why? Why was he going to get 60 minutes? Now, there'll be games where he gets 60 minutes, but I just don't really see where that's going to come from consistently. But at the same time, if he gets 50, he scores 50, right? So 704k, you'll trade him out and he'll score 60 next week and then 40 the week after. And you'll be kicking yourself for a week, but I'd probably still trade him out at that price because Terrell May is basically Cam McInnes, right? Just a massive fantasy producer. He's only just started getting minutes recently, has a better pathway to minutes than McInnes almost. But yeah, at a price that is 200k cheaper. That's a difference here. So yeah, panic on McInnes. Sam Walker. I don't know why you guys asked me for Sam Walker. He 40. He was fine. We got only 3 more left here. Karaz, yeah, I'd panic a little bit. He looked a bit hobbled. The reason I didn't start with him this year was the injury he was carrying in. And yeah, 35 points. I mean, he'll be fine. He's a big gun for fantasy, but just when he carries an injury, he's not as good. Jordan Rapana, a little bit of panic here. A little bit of panic, 44 points. This game scored a try on the wing against the Tigers next week, so he has a chance to really show out. And why don't you chuck Tommy Talau in? I'm not panicked because he's not in my team and he won't be. He might actually get a start this week, though, so that could be fun. And just a quick shout out too. Here's our top 7 in the league this week. So congrats again, guys, to those big scores. If you haven't joined the league, I've dropped the code in the description here as well. Also, make sure to follow Instagram, where we're always doing these polls. And, all of these guys today, for example, were asked for by you guys in the poll on one of the stories. Anyway, that's our Should I Panic video for this week. A lot of just holding it steady. Your preseason study was right. The reasons you bought guys were right. Don't panic on 1 week unless the role changed to what you were expecting it to. So keep steady. You'll be right. Don't worry about your ranking saying 50,000th. It will come right in. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Enjoy.